Olivia Van Lanningham, and the article I've chosen for my assignment 4 is called The Association of Neighborhood Poverty with Personality Change in Childhood, and it discusses how economic disadvantage influences personality development in young children. And for the update on my assignment 4, I do have the full summary. All I have to do is proofread and check my formatting, and I do have the full PDF, and it's also highlighted and ready to be submitted. I do have my notes over here, so. And then for a brief summary of the article, researchers had used data from the National Longitudinal Survey of Youth and analyzed about 1,550 children to see if neighborhood poverty can predict undesirable personality changes. And they checked they would check in with families once at 3 and 4 years old, and then again at 5 and 6 years old. The study also found that children living in an economically disadvantaged census tract would experience more negative personality changes, and a census tract is basically meant to represent neighborhoods and describe characteristics of different populations, including economic status and living conditions. And for this research study, they used a census tract that had about 5,430 people. And these personality changes would include aggression and delinquency, and a decrease in self-confidence and the ability to maintain relationships. And the personality changes would persist even after researchers evaluated familial factors like income and maternal education. And this article is important to my research because my research topic is how poverty affects adolescents, and the study focuses on predictors of adolescent outcomes and pathways to delinquency. So this study found that personality types are established or changed in early childhood and can predict academic achievement and delinquency levels up to 6 years later. And even though delinquent personality types are considered more common in poverty-stricken neighborhoods, they are still strong predictors for future delinquent behaviors in late childhood and early adolescence. The study also suggests that the chronic stress of impoverished neighborhoods can change the trajectory of a child's development before they reach adolescence. And the article uses a few tables to show its findings. In table 1 shows how personality at ages 5 and 6 predicts future outcomes. The results indicate having a resilient personality, which they defined as having self-confidence and maintaining healthy relationships, and that is positively associated with academic growth, while those with behavioral problems are positively associated with delinquency 6 years later. This results in a significant association between neighborhood economic disadvantage and undesirable personality change. Researchers also tested if factors like maternal depression and Head Start participation would explain the relationship between poverty and undesired personality changes, but these factors they could contribute to it, but they never found a definitive explanation. Now for things I do understand and things I don't. So I do understand that poverty will have its own effect on personality development that is separate from familial influence, and children between 3 to 5 years old are most vulnerable because it's when your personality is more open and children's exposure and experiences to neighborhoods begin to they drastically increase to 75%. So for something I don't understand, since the article has found that the negative effects have found negative effects on children. This article, we have found that poverty negatively affects children. The article doesn't discuss how it happens, even though researchers have explored a few different explanations. Again, there's no one definitive answer for why or how poverty affects children, or like, you know. Additionally, there is no explanation for how permanent these personality changes are, and if they can be reversed or improved. So, and then one question I have for like my article is, so to like assess the personality changes, researchers have parents fill out like personality assessments, and I was thinking if there was a way to make the personality assessment more objective, could teachers or maybe counselors, would they have different answers, and would it skew the outcomes of the research study?